I truly believe that Metal Gear Solid 2 is the single most relevant piece of art concerning modern events in modern history. The warnings that Kojima gave us have proven to be frighteningly accurate, and 20 years later, we are seeing just how real these issues presented in the game are, and how we are likely too late to tackle them. And last year, I was really thinking about Metal Gear Solid 2 a lot. I connected with the game more than I ever have before. So we're going to be talking Metal Gear Solid 2. This is not going to be a overall comprehensive observation and diagnosis of the gameplay, of the story, of anything in particular. This is going to be a focused video on oligarchies and the Patriots. So things might get a little political, and we are going to be spoiling Metal Gear Solid 2. Please play Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2 if you haven't. There's plenty of Let's Play videos if you're not into playing them. Anyways, if you want me to do a more comprehensive Metal Gear Solid 2 video, please subscribe and let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to make tons more Metal Gear Solid 2 content as we continue into its 20th anniversary. Anyways, I want to talk about 3 primary examples of the idea of the Patriots existing in modern America in the year 2020, the Patriots being real. And I only want to use 3 examples, and I'm going to talk a bit matter-of-factly and quickly because I am trying to not make this video go on endlessly. That's why there's only 3 examples. There's tons more examples, and I could back things up a bit better, but for the sake of brevity, time, and entertainment, I'm going to keep it relatively light. And I really wanted to start this video with the action-packed intro of Metal Gear Solid 2 with all of that flashy music and fun, upbeat ideas, but the reality is it's not great and it's not fun, and this is bad and this is disappointing. And with that, let's talk Metal Gear Solid 2. So the thing that I want to discuss with Metal Gear Solid 2 in this particular focused video is the idea of an oligarchy, which is a small group of people having control of a country, organization, or institution. And in Metal Gear Solid 2, that entity is represented as the Patriots.
But you're the president. You have power.
No, I'm just a figurehead.
Huh?
I don't have any control. The real power is in the Patriots' hands.
The Patriots?
The truth behind this country. I'm not surprised you've never heard of them. Very few are aware of their existence, even among those with code word clearance.
Huh?
Politics, the military, the economy, they control it all. They even choose who becomes president.
So I am going to be referring to the Patriots as real beings. Like, I'm going to use their names when talking about my 3 examples, and that is kind of to tie things together, because there is going to be a lot less video game footage and a lot more media footage, news footage, but it's also to kind of bring home a point. You're free to disagree in the comments if you don't think the quote Patriots are at play here, but these are just my thoughts.
What you call government is actually a well-staged production aimed at satisfying the public.
One of us in this race led the opposition to the war in Iraq. You're looking at it.
Bernie Sanders, an independent senator, not a career Democrat, was set to win the Democratic Party, and he had that taken away from him, stolen from him by the Patriots. His leftist views, universal health care, increased minimum wage, immediate and intense environmental action are all positions which the Patriots oppose. Patriots abuse lobbying and buying out politicians to ensure these largely popular opinions will not happen, and stopping Bernie is one of the best ways to prevent this. Yet against all odds, Sanders is able to win Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada.
And CNN can now project that Bernie Sanders is the winner of the Nevada caucuses. This is another important victory for the senator in the most diverse state to vote so far.
That's 3 out of the 4 states that had held primaries up to Super Tuesday. And not only did he win, but he absolutely dominated the party's theoretical favorite, Joe Biden. But the Patriots pull the strings. And 3 candidates, Mayor Pete, Amy Klobuchar, and Michael Bloomberg, all withdraw from the race and fully endorse Joe Biden.
3 prominent Democrats running for president have dropped out of the race between South Carolina's primary on February 28th and Super Tuesday on March 3rd.
For the first time in this campaign, you really have the two wings of the Democratic Party organized under a pair of clear frontrunners. Joe Biden, closer to the political center.
Look, most Americans don't want the promise of a revolution. They want results. They want a revival of decency, honor, and character.
And Bernie Sanders further to the left.
Warren stays in as a leftist candidate to split Sanders' votes, and this will ultimately cost Sanders and cause him to lose Super Tuesday and eventually the nomination as a whole. After Super Tuesday, Elizabeth Warren would withdraw and endorse Joe Biden. The Patriots successfully eliminated a populist movement aimed to bring power back to the people.
From day one, we have been taking on the establishment. It is no surprise they do not want me to become president.
Following his resignation, the Patriots selected me, their new pawn for the presidency.
But that would mean that the presidential race was...
That was quite a show, wasn't it? It was a well-scripted drama staged by the Patriots for the benefit of the public. Even the Democrats and Republicans were dancing to the Patriots' tune.
Wall Street stocks closed higher on Monday, and the S&P 500 was poised to clinch its biggest quarterly percentage gain since 1998.
The United States has easily been the worst developed nation to handle the pandemic. Food lines are stretching for miles, people are forced to stay home while they lose their jobs with next to no support. All the while, hundreds of thousands of people are dying at a much higher rate than any other developed country. None of this had to happen. 80% of Americans support direct cash aid during the pandemic. That's not 80% of Democrats, it's 80% of Americans. Some Americans have gotten up to $1,800 in the last 12 months. That's a little over $100 a month. The distribution of aid has been a colossal failure from all parties since the pandemic's inception. While we did receive aid, the vast majority of these multi-trillion-dollar bills passed, which used taxpayer money, by the way, did not go to struggling Americans, but went to corporations and included, in some cases, custom legislation for these corporations. The money is in these bills to pay Americans, but instead the Patriots routed the wealth upwards and used our pitiful check by comparison to developed countries as a distraction, insisting that they have done more than enough. The charade around being unable to negotiate and deal around getting more aid is just simply untrue, especially at this stage in the game. Checks are supported by 80% of Americans, and one party currently holds the House, Senate, and executive branch. When the Patriots need something done, be it immunity from lawsuits, qualified immunity for COVID, a new bailout, or whatever.
Quote, so Joe Biden bombs Syria and kills the minimum wage hike, confirming every fear progressives had. Soon they'll renege on getting $2,000 checks to everyone in the middle class by limiting who gets it to appease their establishment donors. The establishment is back, he said, and it absolutely sucks.
They will gladly allow another bill to be spun up and will be given a very, very small piece of the pie. While many deaths could have been prevented by following guidelines, the Patriots are also largely to blame.
Turn now to Elon Musk. The CEO of Tesla is defying stay-at-home orders, daring authorities to arrest him by reopening his California factory.
Large portions of the economy are being encouraged to open up despite the fact that we are way worse off than when we originally closed. I understand people have to make a living, but we have the money and resources to keep people home while keeping them whole. Yet the Patriots need to make record profits while the real people suffer.
I want you to address the obvious. This looks like a move by an outfit called Robinhood, which is supposed to be taken from the rich and given to the poor, and doing exactly the opposite.
I personally got into GameStop when the stock was about $20. We were kind of like Dead Cell.
Outer Heaven is planned to unleash a nuclear blast over the skies of Wall Street to break the Patriots' control of the business community.
The idea was great. I rode the ride to the top and watched it all come crumbling down, and the whole time the blatant corruption was actually the catalyst for making this video. Here's a list of things hedge funds used to either actively manipulate or attempt to manipulate GameStop stock with. They halted the buying of shares.
Why did you allow people to keep selling but not buying? The reason that is so troubling to people is that they were making money buying the stock.
On many, many platforms, especially the key platform Robinhood, which held the majority of retail investors. They flooded social media sites like Reddit and Wall Street Bets with bots. If you went on the daily discussions, tons of accounts were brand new Reddit accounts with almost no comment history, only shilling random stocks on to distract you from GameStop on the daily threads. The media FUD was insane. The media just non-stop was talking about how we were the bad guys, how the hedge funds were the good guys, how people's pensions were on the line, how people were really going to get hurt during all this, how it was all fake, how the theory wasn't true, and how we were ultimately going to get in a lot of trouble for what we were doing.
It's just a way of attacking wealthy people, and I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together. The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share is a bullshit concept.
There was also a faked silver rally, which was kind of weird, and a constant to this day failure to deliver date on GameStop stocks. This recession may lead to the biggest K-shaped recovery in history. Jeff Bezos alone could give all 876,000 Amazon employees a $105,000 bonus, and he'd be as rich as he was at the start of the pandemic. The poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting much richer. There is a constant market manipulation and highly shorted stocks frequently on Wall Street. If the hedge funds are doing it, it's no problem. If Jeff is making another billion, no one bats an eye. If retail investors are playing according to the rules, mainstream media, the billionaires, and the politicians who are supposed to represent you will do everything in their power to shut you down. You have no political power, and we live in an oligarchy. Policies supported by economic elites become law between 60 and 70% of the time, or the Patriots. Policies supported by business lobbies also became law 60 to 70% of the time. But policy changes favored by the majority of all voters are enacted approximately 30% of the time. The Patriots are real, and we live in that reality. Our politicians are puppets. Any attempt to change the status quo will be stifled, and we are being manipulated, and our information can seldom be trusted with good faith. The Metal Gear Solid series encourages action, and I think we should spend more time listening and acting on the messages of these games. That's all for me, and I will catch you next time.